no pressure. So how many of you got the opportunity to look through the profiles of your facilitators? Yes, no, maybe. I would love to make this interactive, guys. This is the first session. It's a make or break.
Yes, yes.
Even if you say that there is no pressure, but I feel the pressure. So I just want to make sure that everybody is on a good start. And okay, so somebody put up your hand. So one request, because we are going to have 1 hour very chock-a-block sessions. We will try and make time for interaction, of course. But having said that, we would love to interact with you with your cameras on and also with your correct name. For example, somebody right now put up their hand by mistake, maybe, and the person's name is R. Now I'm looking at Rabhu Pen. So if you guys can put in your names, at least your first names, you can go in Zoom, click on the 3 dots, and you can rename yourself. And that will allow me to interact with you better. The other thing is that when I am presenting the screen, one of the things that will happen is I might not be able to see your messages in the chat. So feel free to unmute and talk, or if the question can wait till the time, because I will stop sharing in between. So you can ask your question at that time. So having said that, I'm sorry, I straight away dived into it. I'm trying to make the best use of time. Good morning. This is session 1, semester 1, module 1 of managing, training, learning, and development. A very warm welcome to all the associates. We are beginning straight away with the subject for which you didn't get the material. Sorry. Gurvinderji, have you uploaded the material, the PDF material
Yes,
that
ma'am.
we Yes, great. So you guys have the PDF file on your learning drive. You can have a look at it. The slides that I'm going to present are going to be based loosely on the material that has been given to you. Of course, we do not want it to be a parroting exercise of what is there in your textbooks. So we will make this more of a discussion, more of examples, and anything else you would like to share so that all of us can learn through what we call as social learning. You will learn more about social learning and other things during the course of the time. I have the privilege of also being the director for NHQ. When I say NHQ, it means the national headquarters for ISTD. So I, in that capacity, also warmly welcome you. This is going to be a journey of 3 semesters, out of which the first 2 semesters are going to be focused on core skill building, and on the third semester you get to put everything into action, which is your project report. Any questions about examinations and kaise hoga, assignments, ye sab we will not be encouraging right now. We are diving into the subjects, but in case you have any unanswered questions or doubts, feel free to write to us or call us separately. Let's not bring those questions up here. So what is managing training? Yeah. Thank you, Govindaji. So, managing training, learning, and development is the holistic process of you managing the entire process as a learning specialist. When I say the entire process, for some of you, it might act as a very dummy session because we are trying to uncover, unravel the very basics and foundation of training, learning, and development. Some of you who've been seasoned trainers, etc., can completely ignore this section. But it is important for sometimes to connect the dots. The difficulty level of this module is medium. It means that we are not assuming that all of you are expert trainers, but also not so, continuously dismissing the idea that you've been in the learning and development space. Okay. Gunjan Rawat is okay. Sorry, I should have asked this. Is everybody comfortable with English? Because Gunjan is saying I need to use a mixed language. Is everybody okay with English? Can we get a vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
We are comfortable
ma'am.
Yes,
both
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hindi and English.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
तो चलो
Yes,
mix कर
yes,
लेंगे
ma'am.
थोड़ा सा
English.
English कर लेंगे so that everybody is it is easier. And somebody is asking where is the learning PDF material. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, please join it. It will have all your materials, and fortunately, I have converted it into only admin sending messages. That way, we do not dilute important messages, and you only get to receive information which is critical and useful for you. I have made the assumption that all of you are busy and you do not want to engage in idle talk. Most of the times when two people are talking back and forth, that is the time when we lose important information. So somebody is saying paper one is not available. Gurvinder ji has just uploaded. It is available now. Okay. The presentation slides I will present to you the moment we finish our classrooms. Now, let me also set some ground rules. What we will be doing in our classrooms is primarily understanding the concepts which are there in the book. All of us are intelligent enough. There is YouTube, there is enough material. We can all read by ourselves. But why do we do these classes? To gain from each other's experience, learn from each other, clarify any doubts, or also sometimes there are confusions that we have. So I will bring up one confusion very soon. But before I say that, I also want to say there is a lot of material I will share with you. I am a student for life. If you have seen my profile, I have invested a sizable amount of time studying a lot. So in a way, I have a love for learning. Plus, I am a human resource professional. So I like to overload people with information, which means that you will receive additional materials, you will receive videos to watch, you will receive some case studies, you will receive some funny infographics. Does it mean you have to read all of it? The plain and straight answer for your ISTD PGP program is no. You do not have to. Those are optional materials that is being given to you to cement your understanding. But if you are following those examples and the additional materials, you will be able to connect the real world with the virtual world in which you are right now learning. So you will be able to put your experience and the knowledge in action. So, for example, if I tell you that what is micro learning, and I will teach you a lot about micro learning, models bata denge, points bata denge, bullet points bata denge, photo dikha denge. But if I give you a case study where you use chunking or micro learning as a concept, you'll be able to say, oh, so that's why that module was structured in this manner. This is what micro learning means. Obviously, micro learning is not YouTube shorts. So, what are the differences? All of those things. But instead, if you're only reading your book, your knowledge might be a little more theoretical, etc., etc., which means that connection nahi ho payega. Which means when the exam will come, you will have to mug up instead of having the joy of learning. Is that fair, guys? I will be bringing up a lot of additional material. If it's all right, I would love to see some thumbs ups. This is the first. Let's have a lot of energy. Feel free to drink water, grab a snack. I won't mind it at all. I would love to see more faces on camera. So, great. Thank you so much. So, Meryl has raised his or her hand. I'm so sorry, Meryl. I can't see you. So, I do not know whether you're a boy or a girl.
I'm a girl. I'm a girl. Totally.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
Meryl. Tell me.
I think you remember I'm the Lenovo big name big that we
Hmm.
had it in day one. Okay. So my question was, you said that you're giving us the reading material on WhatsApp. Will it be sent on mail as well?
It won't be on mail. We will try and put everything on the link. In case you require a mail, what we have is we have the PGP mail ID. Gurvinder ji, do we also send it on email?
We'll share a link where all the PPTs and the videos will be available. One single
तो लिंक
document.
आपको मेल पे मिल जाएगा.
We'll do from
अगर आपने
tomorrow.
मिस कर दिया व्हाट्सएप मैसेज तो आप उस पर क्लिक करोगे यू विल गेट द मटेरियल. थैंक यू गुरविंदर जी. ही इज माय training administrator. He is my instructional design person. So he has all this information that you will require, typically logistics. Okay. So now let's begin with some modules. Okay. By the way, there are going to be 10 modules. Okay. Each module is going to be 1 hour, which also means that in some situations, हम नहीं cover कर पाएंगे. If we get too busy talking, chatting, discussing, some modules might be left apart. Again, there might be some modules where you would like to have a little more clarification. So मैंने पढ़ा दिया, आपको नहीं समझ आया या फिर आधा समझ आया but बिल्कुल ही समझ नहीं आया. So every session in the beginning, 5 to 8 minutes, we will make sure that we devote towards ensuring that we clarify doubts or any case study discussions that we would like to have. In the previous batches, we used to have longer class durations, but I am aware that you guys have to endure 4 classes in one day. So, first of all, hats off to you and really congratulations on making that effort in investing in yourself. Okay. I'm going to jump into my subject now. So, like I said, I might not be able to see your faces. I'm going to put up my presentation now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
we can see.
it is
Excellent.
visible. It is visible,
So,
ma'am.
now we are beginning with our first module, role of learning and development. Very simple, easy breezy topic. The reason why we are doing an easy breezy topic on the first day is we want you to warm into the larger concepts. Another thing before I jump into this, I wanted to talk about is how learning and development, various kind of modules that we have introduced in semester 1 are not going to be necessarily sequential, but understanding one before the other can help. So this paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4 is structured in a way that आप basics हमारे इस paper पे सीखेंगे, managing the training, learning and development. For example, we'll talk about curiosity. We'll talk about memory's job in retention. We'll talk about competency. We'll talk about what kind of learner are we encountering today. But unki jo applications hai, many of them will happen in the next papers. So be patient in case you see a concept and you say, मुझे इसके बारे में थोड़ा और जानना है. It is there. I will always call it out that whatever you are seeing here and we just mentioned as a name, it is going to be expanded in the next module. So now let's jump into the agenda for today. Very simple. We are saying the topics that we'll be covering today are what is learning and development. Of course, all of you know it. Let's look at the formal definition. What is it? What is the difference between training, learning, and development? The key responsibilities of the L&D department. Many people think कि सब कुछ कर लेते हैं, तो सब दे दो. So what is the main key responsibility for learning and development? What are the common roles within different departments? This is also a career discussion for all of you. Thinking that मैं क्या करना चाहता हूँ या चाहती हूँ. Okay, because many people think L&D, but then L&D doesn't mean everything. L&D has so many aspects to it. So which aspect appeals to you the most, makes your choice as a learning specialist even more clear? Role of technology in L&D, again, we'll briefly touch upon it because there is one whole chapter in which we'll be covering technology, gamification, VR, AR, all of that. But we'll touch upon it to warm you up. Okay. How L&D contributes to organizational success. Now, this one is very important for you to understand the short-term benefits and long-term benefits of an L&D strategy. So right now, let's begin with a very basic question. What is learning and development? Let me hear. I'm going to stop my share and hear from you. And you guys can unmute and say. And please follow a sequence. So if somebody's putting up their hand, let that person speak. And we just spend 2 minutes on this. In your mind, what is learning and development? Vanshika Jain would like to say. Tell me.
A
What is
very
learning?
warm good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Basically, learning and development means that we are giving someone the learning of that particular subject,
Mm-hmm,
whatever is given to us, and to
mm-hmm,
that subject, that is the bookish knowledge, and
mm-hmm,
development is the practical knowledge that we are developing that subject and inheriting it into the person's
mm.
abilities and behavior.
Okay. So how is it different from training then in your head? So what is the difference between learning and development and training according to you?
Training is the process which we are
Hmm,
giving to
hmm.
achieve that the development. First is the learning, then is the development which he is giving into his behavior, we are giving into his or her behavior, and
Mm-hmm.
training is the process, we can say.
Okay. So can we say, and thanks for being bold enough to have this engaging conversation. My question is, can we also then say and extrapolate based on what you are saying that it is a subset of learning and development?
Yes,
Is
the
training
whole
a
can
subset?
uh no, it is not a subset, it is the part of it is a part of a wholesome. Training, learning
Okay.
and development are three parts of the wholesome holistic development of a person.
Hmm. Okay. Fair point. Okay. Anyone else wants to try their hand?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am,
Hello.
Prasam Pichai. Prasam Pichai has
Yeah.
put up his hand. Yes, Prasam.
Good morning, Tina ma'am.
Good morning.
So, learning and development. Learning is a continuous process in which
Hmm.
every organization or every individual needs in their
Hmm.
daily life.
Hmm.
So, in learning, we can say it is a process. So, why learning and development means it is a systematic process that
Mm-hmm.
helps in enhancing one's individual knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
which gives a better performance, in my view.
Okay.
So that is learning, which,
Okay.
as I say, the learning is a continuous process that
Hmm.
helps us in further development in all aspects.
Hmm.
Developing one individual, that individual will develop the organization, which helps in the growth of the organization.
Hmm.
Similarly, henceforth, the term learning and development together gives
Hmm.
very good performance or gives something extraordinary to the company or the organization that we works.
Okay. Thank you so much. That is very expansive. Anyone else? Last one.
Yes.
So Atul
Yeah,
Jain has
ma'am.
put.
Hello.
Yes, Atul.
yeah, ma'am. Yeah, good morning. Ma'am,
Hmm.
as you said that yes, training is a subset of learning and development because it's a part
Hmm.
of L&D. In training, we mainly focus on telling some specific skills,
Hmm.
and it's a short-term based. But
Hmm.
learning is a long-term based and a very strategic.
Hmm.
So this is a difference between learning and development and training, ma'am.
Thank you. So thank you, Sadek, and couple of others. I
Yes,
don't want to
ma'am.
spend a lot
Yes,
of
ma'am.
time. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So training is a continuous process, and we can say learning is a long-term process, and the outcome is a development. So basically, training is a continuous process, and development is the outcome through training.
Okay, excellent. We've broken it down into English. So now let me take you back to our presentation and see the learners, the psychologists, the scientists, what do they put learning and development as? Okay, I'm going back to sharing my screen. Let's look at what it says. And guys, you don't have to write any frantic notes, okay? I will call out when you have to take notes because all of this is in your book, word by word. So don't worry at all, just absorb the learning. Learning and development is both a strategic approach as well as a business function. It is the overall strategy a company uses to help its employee learn and develop. This includes everything from short-term skills training to setting long-term career goals. Now let's go to the big question that I asked you. What is learning and development and what are the various differences between learning, training, and development? So, can you tell me just for the sake of humoring me, if I had to separate out training and in your mind, if I had to put an image as to training is, let us say, um, think of an image as a child or a school going person. And if I had to say learning and development, and I put an image of a person who is going to work or who's sitting at a desk and working, what is the first thing that comes to your mind as difference between learning, training, and development?
Uh, Training is regarding a technical skill a child has to learn. Like the child has to go to school. That is
Hmm.
related to the particular technical task the child has to do. But when
Hmm.
I'm talking about learning and development to sit on the table, it means
Hmm.
overall learning of taking my task ahead, overall
Hmm.
doing my work to polish myself
Hmm.
for further challenges which I might get into my work. I
Hmm.
guess that is learning and development.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ma'am, may I? Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, may I?
please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically, I believe that training focuses on teaching specific skills and knowledge to improve,
Hmm.
current performance, your current job performance. And
Hmm.
learning, it's a very broader process of acquiring new skills and knowledge and getting directly into the activities. Basically, one is a pediatric learning, and second is
Hmm.
basically putting that into doing all the tasks definitely on a daily process.
Thank you so much. This is such a nice response to get because I am glad that you used a very technical term. But having said that, we are going to look at andragogy, pedagogy, heutagogy, and all of that later on. But thank you for those responses. I'm going to bring you into a mini table. Okay. I believe that sometimes visual aids are highly helpful when you are learning. So I want to show you on various aspects what is the difference between training, learning, and development. First aspect, what is the goal? Improve efficiency, productivity, and performance of the learner in the current role. That's training. Current role, chota scope hai. You get people, get them in a room, train them. Example, can somebody give an example? On the job training, workshops, कोई SOP सीखना है, कोई नया software है उसे सीखना है. You have to know how to run a simulation, etc., etc. Those are some examples of training. What is the approach? Typically instructor-led, and here it doesn't mean in person. Instructor-led means, for example, right now, I am the instructor, I'm leading this. And then it's also group-based, where people learn from each other. Okay, because they discuss in the classroom, just like we're doing right now. What is the focus? For training, the focus is acquiring specific skills and knowledge for a particular job or task. For example, we all have to start using a new software. And we are learning SSO, कैसे login करना है, कौन से screen में जाना है, उसके बाद क्या करना है, very specific job or task. It has low, far-reaching implications. It is narrow, it is short-term, and it addresses immediately skill gap. And I hope everybody is comfortable with Hindi. And those of you stay in Delhi, very common language you use is chepi. Chepi laga diya. यहाँ पे chepi laga diya. For example, somebody breaks a road and starts creating some, some repairs, etc. People do not always immediately repair the road. What they do is they do a makeshift, temporary adjustment. Chepi laga diya उसपे. For the timing, just put on a band-aid. We haven't treated the root cause yet, but we have put a band-aid, so it's still functional. So when you come back home, you open the band-aid, you wash your wound, and then you do whatever is required. So training in many situations is, unfortunately, in many organizations, very reactive. It means that, oh my God, performance is dipping. Let's do some training. Generally, that is what it is. I'm not saying it is true for all organizations, but most organizations. Those who plan, they also plan trainings for short-term benefits, which means that it is not necessarily intervention based. Now, those of you couldn't catch intervention based, we will talk about intervention based models when we talk about 70-20-10. Maybe I will talk about it or some other facilitator will. But that's typically intervention spaced learning. Now, let's look at learning and development. So, learning and development's job is to enhance learners' capabilities. It also fosters a culture of learning in an organization. So basically, it allows to support organizational success and it encourages you to be a student for life, which means that you continue learning. ये SOP सीखा निकल गए work हो गया, not necessarily true. Learning and development is a continuous process. So let us take a look at some examples. It's mentoring, it's coaching, it's leadership programs, it's online courses. Also courses that will help you support your career planning all come under learning and development. By the way, all the definitions or the attempts you made at describing it, I'm very happy that you were almost 90% correct. But in some places, when you are having an educated conversation with someone, if somebody uses this term interchangeably, which you will find most of the sales folks will do that. In fact, business people will generally say, "Well, ek hi to cheez hai." They do not know the difference. For you to be able to have an educated conversation which is enlightening for them and very clear, crisp, you need to know the differences, the subtle differences between these terms. Then what is the approach of learning and development? It can be self-development, self-directed, it can be personalized, and for most cases, it's ongoing. And that is where we talk about intervention. पढ़ाई किया, apply किया, फिर से पढ़ाई किया, फिर apply किया, फिर एक नया skill लिया, फिर apply किया, फिर apply किया, फिर देखा what I didn't do well, what didn't work for me. Then you come back, you refresh that. There's something called, many of you will be able to relate to the topic of something called process knowledge test, PKT. Many people do it. Why? To keep refreshing your knowledge, continuous development of your knowledge. And then what is the focus? Overall development, including skills, knowledge, attributes, and behaviors. For those of you who have heard the word competency will relate to this. What is a competency? A competency is an amalgamation of skills, knowledge, capabilities, and behavior. What is the difference between all of them? I'll talk about it when we talk about competency models. But for now, we are saying the focus of training is short term. फटाफट काम कराओ, जो टास्क है उसको सिखा दो, बाकी आगे पीछे का बताने की जरूरत नहीं. You do not need to necessarily fit the piece of the puzzle in the puzzle. But learning and development is the puzzle, the piece of the puzzle, and how you integrate into the puzzle. So it includes competencies, which is skills, knowledge, attributes, behaviors, and it is not short focused. It is a long-term focused, and it has a larger view. That means when you are in a learning and development program, people will tell you, this is what the skill you are learning, and this is how it relates to your vision, your mission of the organization. This is what the VIFM for you is when you do this, when you learn this. So you get a larger perspective. So a typical example is, and I love giving this example because we are doing training, learning, and development. In case somebody is implementing a new learning management system, or somebody is doing away with an old system and bringing in a new system, the training of that, the SOP, the standard operating process for that small change in technology can be a training. छोटा सा ट्रेनिंग कर लो, कॉग्नोस का ट्रेनिंग कर लो, SAP का ट्रेनिंग कर लो, these are trainings. But learning and development is, why did we get a new software? What were the problems with the previous one? What are the benefits with the new one? What is the ROI? How will we measure feedback? All of that will come under learning and development. Okay, so the scope is broader, long-term, focused on career growth and organizational needs. Is everybody clear? Any questions? Is the pace all right? Am I too fast?
No, ma'am.
Is the
No,
pace
ma'am,
okay, guys?
everything is, yes,
No, ma'am.
ma'am, everything
Pace
is
is
great.
pace is
Okay.
okay, and thanks for giving that wonderful example, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's go back to our presentation. And what are we going to talk about now? We're going to talk about some topics which you guys, because you're in this field and you made this choice in your life, you anyways know about it, but still, it just helps to run it over. And what is it that we are going to run over? We are going to talk about the role of learning and development. Okay, key responsibilities of the learning and development department. I've tried to make an iconographic so that its visual learners can benefit. For auditory learners, I'm going to read it. And for kinesthetic learners, you can read as well as listen. So that should take care of you. So what are these words that I spoke about? These are various kind of learning styles that you will learn in cognitive learning. That is a separate paper. You will get to know more about it. But right now, like I said, all these are oceans of information in itself. Needs analysis, you have one whole module on this. Then you have developing learning programs, all of them. But right now, like I said in the beginning, we are warming you up to the concept of deep diving into each of these topics. So let's look at this. On the left-hand side, on the top, I'm going to read from the top. So at the top left, you see needs analysis. So सबने सुना है TNA, training need analysis, skill gap analysis, all of us do. So that's the key responsibility of the learning development team. तुम क्या develop करोगे till the time you know the skill gaps. And also, we have to figure out, do we want to do a training or is it a long-term program that we need to have? So for that, to be able to get that information, we use methodologies like surveys, interviews, observations, reviews from people. Now, in many organizations, I don't know about yours, but the places I have worked, there is something called the survey fatigue. क्या होता है survey fatigue? Can someone tell me what is a survey fatigue? Any attempt? Google मत करना यार. बिना Google के बताओ.
The
Yes,
obstruction
Ajmal.
which they face from the obstruction which we face from the employees. We are time taking
Okay.
and नहीं करना.
अच्छा, अच्छा. Ajmal, he put
Yeah,
up his hand, so I'm just giving him credit.
yeah. So there are sometimes where we send them what surveys on a routine basis. So they get fed up because they are doing
Fed
that,
up.
but not
Yes.
getting the what they said. So the first thing they
Yes.
have something the first survey, but that has not been done. And again, you're putting
Yes.
a second, the third survey.
Huh. So this is typically true for human resources. Payal, survey
Yes.
fatigue क्या है?
We are approaching people time to time and they are considering that we don't have a time एंड बार बार हम उनको बोलते हैं, उनको ऐसा होता है कि हमें देख के डर लग जाता है कि यार ये फिर करना पड़ेगा, लाइक
50 क्वेश्चन फिर से भेज दिए।
यस, यार सुबह से 4 बार आ गए हैं बोलने के लिए, करना ही पड़ेगा। दे आर टेकिंग वेरी
हाँ
हार्ड कि मतलब बहुत प्रेशर हो गया है वो करने का। या दिस
हाँ
इज
गुड वन। यस,
May I,
पिनाक,
ma'am?
पिनाकी।
May I, ma'am?
एक मिनट, पिनाकी की बात करते हैं। एंड गाइस प्लीज पुट अप योर हैंड सो दैट यू कैन स्पीक। पिनाकी, you need to unmute
Oh,
yourself. Yes,
yeah, yeah.
please.
So it the same someone else has talked about, for everything nowadays, for every aspect of the discussions and other things, after any event or after any training or after anything, there is a survey come, as well as for
फीडबैक
NPS
भरो,
score,
ऑनलाइन
feedback
भरो,
growth.
अभी भरो।
Exactly, exactly. So whenever it comes, there are 70% of the people objected. क्या दादा फिर से भेज दिए? So it's
फिर से
like
भेज दिए।
something like being a senior head of that the sales team. I have to have
Yes.
100 of people's objections. Sir, sir फिर से भेज दिए sir. Sir फिर से इसको करना पड़ेगा. मतलब it's something that's obviously a fatigue because there is no other system because this NPS score is a very common one. Even if you go for even if you go to a repairing shop of your car, they will send you an NPS score. Sir, 5 में से कितना मिला हमें बता दीजिएगा. So it's everywhere in life nowadays. So that's been.
So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to go back to the topic, and for everybody else who's taken up their hands, thank you so much. I'm just going to try and accommodate as many responses as we can. I am also going to talk about something called change fatigue. Okay. So there is survey fatigue, where we send a survey for everything. Now, there once upon a time, I used to look forward to surveys. अरे डालेंगे, feedback डालेंगे. Now, इतना question भेज रहे हैं, बार-बार भेज रहे हैं, there's becoming a survey fatigue. Now, how many of you have experienced something called, after COVID, change fatigue? Change fatigue. ये चेंज हो रहा है, सॉफ्टवेयर अपग्रेड हो रहा है, हाइब्रिड वर्किंग हो रहा है, पहले ये पेपर था, अब ये पेपर है, ये प्लेटफॉर्म था, अब ये नया प्लेटफॉर्म है। अब पहले तुम एक भरते थे ट्रैकर, अब तुम दूसरा भरोगे। डॉक्टर यशोदा।
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
यस, गो अहेड।
So basically, change fatigue, like before COVID, we were working like offline, and after COVID, everything is online. मतलब आपको आप जहाँ पे भी हो, you have to attend meeting, everything. This is a change fatigue.
Hello. So change fatigue bhi hai, but then there are also other elements.
Hello.
Let's see. Let's hear. हाँ जी, Dr. Yasura.
So I am a consultant with a company where we
Okay.
sell insurance online, marine insurance,
अरे.
and I have a sales team. And all of them have complained so far that the owner of the company, the boss, keeps changing the KRAs. That's one, on and off. He keeps changing the incentive program, and he keeps changing the reporting structure also.
तो गोल पोस्ट चेंज होता रहता है, फुटबॉल कैसे खेलेंगे? गोल पोस्ट ही चेंज हो रहा है।
Yeah, that is the thing. And for the earlier one, the survey fatigue, we have an HR person, very sensible lady, but she asked to put remarks of instances in which you had difficulty and remarks of instances. And the whole sales team was falling off to sleep in that online meeting. So what do you do with that?
You get that, and that's where I'm taking you. There used to be a time when we would be like, wow, new change, कुछ नया software आ रहा है, wow, everybody is excited in the cafe, everybody is talking about it. It happened across India, it happened across the world. But now, अरे यार, एक और अभी नया कोई geo tagging शुरू कर दिया यार. Now they have started biometric, man. Now they have changed the daily tracker. They have now told us to now put some other email at the end of the day. Now they're saying, please come for this engagement activity, online chai piyenge. So change fatigue. It can really, really erode your enigma as a trainer. Srushti, you wanted to share some.
Ma'am, actually, change fatigue is, we can relate to it as resistance to change. For instance, after COVID, we have set our boundaries to limit. And apart from that boundaries, we're not ready to go beyond that boundaries and work. So earlier, that was not a scene. But after COVID, people have set their boundaries to what has to be done and what has to not to be done.
If you are lucky, you can get away with it. I don't think that's all entirely true for everybody,
Oh,
because I think the boundaries have blurred in many ways after COVID, especially in hybrid environment. For example, earlier when you would go to work, there would be this flexibility of starting work at 9 o'clock. At 9:30 तक चाय पीते, आराम से बैठते हैं, फिर काम शुरू करते, 9:30 काम शुरू करेंगे. There used to be breaks. When you leave office, let us say you leave office at 7 o'clock. I'm just being me, okay? I generally leave at 6:37. I used to. So when you leave, then you are like, I don't have to constantly look at my mobile phone because your boss knows that you are on the way. You are in the metro. You're in a bus. You are in a car. You are driving. But now in hybrid, what has happened is, because I can take the liberty of picking up my kid from school in the middle of the day, I can get up and cook a mini snack and come back and sit at my desk. The boundaries, we are also blurring it. And then the organization is also blurring. So अब तुम
Right.
ये नहीं बोल सकते कि ये नहीं करेंगे, 7 बज गए. बॉस बोले घर पे ही तो हो, करो ना प्लीज, रोज नहीं होगा. So
Correct.
all of this change is causing us to invent newer ways of interacting with people and gaining their information. अब तुम चले जाओ किसी से, फिर से सर्वे भेज दो, मारे थप्पड़ खींच के कोई तुमको, मतलब फिजिकली नहीं मार पाएगा, but then they want to beat you. So what you
Right.
do to get the information? You have to have a conversation like we are having. अपन लोग
Right.
बात कर रहे हैं. We are talking, okay? And through your talks and by putting out questions, like I'm saying, अच्छा हाथ उठाओ, बोलो कौन क्या बोलना चाहता है. You can pick up nuggets of information if you do it strategically. And that is why nowadays, instead of surveys, what is the more popular way? Group discussion, forums, or interview. So you pick up a random sample of people. Then somebody asks, क्या करेंगे? So I'm saying that pick up a random sample of a mixed bag of people and get information from them. Have razor sharp questions and do not let it fester for 3 hours, 4 hours. 5-6 घंटे वाले conversation भूल गए, वो दिन चले गए. जो कॉफी भी है, समोसा भी है, and we are sitting and we are talking, वो खत्म हो गया दिन. क्योंकि पहले गुस्ती होगा, और भाई क्या हाल है, 15 minutes that will go on. After that, people will get down to the interview. By the time they finish, people are cracking jokes. Very different way of working. Now, people are online. They are going to give you information in 15 minutes. Time नहीं है किसी के पास. So change your approach of training need analysis, the way you collect data. Make it sharp, make it effective. Other than surveys, in some situations, surveys are mandatory. For example, if you want to collect demographic data, तो उसे जुबानी नहीं कर सकते. If you want to collect production data or productivity data. So Dr. Yashoda is saying, I have had coffee, samosa, and only the boss talking in the meetings. Very nice. बहुत बढ़िया meetings होते थे. बोलना है बोलने तो अपन समोसा खाते. But now that has changed. So I am now taking you back to the slide where I'm going to talk about what are the interesting and innovative ways. And of course, like I said, I promised, and I know that there is one whole module on training need analysis for the modern learner. कैसे करेंगे? Right now, needs analysis, we spoke about survey, we spoke about fatigue, spoke about interviews, and we spoke about observations. What does observation really mean? It means that instead of asking questions, set up a meeting or set up just a conversation at a specific time every day and see how people behave. If you want to specifically do any kind of a behavioral training, make sure that you observe the behaviors at different points in a day. Check verbal and written and spoken communication. Try to read the undercurrent between people in case you are doing an interpersonal training. So you will have to be innovative for your training need analysis. The old arcane paper methods no longer work. Because the moment आप needs analysis बोल के जाओगे, people wear a hat of needs analysis और वो लिखने लग जाएंगे जो उन्हें लगता है लिखना है, which is not necessarily true. So your training need analysis has to be sharp enough to be able to truly capture what is the need instead of the perceived need. For example, you go to a supervisor, सारे गधे हैं, इनको basic training फिर से करा दो. Doesn't mean that that is true. It is not evidence-based. Your job as a learning expert is to ask the right questions to get the right information. और कुछ ठीक नहीं हो रहा, training ठीक से नहीं हुई. Dump it on the trainer. So to counter that, your first pillar is needs analysis. So that is the responsibility of the L&D department. What is next? Developing the learning programs. Of course, the learning programs can be functional, engaging, and accessible. In case it is not any of these, people will not do your training. They will do tick mark, tick mark, tick mark. They will say, yes, ma'am, ho gaya. And then they will send you all kinds of rubbish feedback, which is not going to help you at all. So it becomes very important for you, based on your needs analysis, you develop your learning. Then you develop, you collected the needs, you developed, you got your champions, you spoke to your stakeholders. The next step becomes delivering the training. Guys, I'm simplifying it, okay? Like I said, each of them are separate modules, but I'm just warming you up to the idea about concept steps and concept responsibilities are there for the L&D department. Delivering the training. How do you deliver workshops? You do e-learning courses. आजकल तो e-learn हो जाता है course. You go to scormhero.com. They take your PPT, they convert it into a training, free of course. So you can make your e-learning courses. You can make video tutorials where you make a string of different videos that people can watch in a certain sequence and they can learn at their own pace. Then there is simulation. Specifically, if you are teaching people a specific software or a specific way of working, WOW, it's called WOW, ways of working. If you're changing the ways of working, simulations are the way to go. For example, you are bringing up, doing a cross-skilling. Okay, you're doing cross-skilling between, let us say, the digital marketing team and the sales team. That kind of a soft, because they have the basic skills. You don't want to dummy them down and give them basic concepts. They already know. But what you do a mini simulation to check ये digital वालों को कितनी अकल है sales में, direct sales में, and direct sales people, what kind of capabilities they have in the digital space. Based on that, you can establish a baseline. Baseline means that if you are in this class and I start teaching you in English alphabets, you will say, are you serious? We already know all this. So you have to begin your training at the stage where everybody can receive and accept it and they find it enjoyable, stimulating, engaging. So simulations are a great way to do that. In addition to that, mentoring, of course, it always works. Watching someone do something and learning from them and being able to ask questions is a blessing. It's a gift. In addition to delivering training, bye, ho gaya, never see you again, that hardly happens. Okay. After training, what happens is your support. So you learn things in the classroom and you are going applying it and you're struggling. नहीं हो रहा, सीख के आए थे, समझ नहीं आ रहा. I'm even more confused than when I went on the training. So that is where your performance support comes. You give them checklists, you give them job aids, some things that you can put up on your desk, something that you make your mobile wallpaper, something that you can follow as 1, 2, 3 steps. And also you provide them accessibility. A trainer cannot clone himself or herself. Maybe in future they will be able to, because that's also a probability. But for now, we can have something called a chatbot. The basic questions that are asked by everybody on a regular basis can be responded by the chatbots. It's no longer an alien concept. All banks, all websites, everybody have a chatbot nowadays. And then there are coaches. जो आप ट्रेनिंग में सीख के आए, your coach can help you, support you, guide you in making sure you are able to apply all of that you learned in your. Now, who's going to tell me the difference between a coach and a mentor? Who can tell me? Shravani has raised her hand. Shravani. Shravani, are you able to unmute yourself?
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
I said, what is the difference between coaching and mentoring? Ajmal,
Yes, ma'am.
you
Can
put
you
up
hear
your
me
hand.
now?
Yes, Shravani,
Can
I
you
can
hear
hear
me
you.
now?
Please go ahead.
Yeah, basically, ma'am, as last time I have mentioned this, there's one term that is pediatric learning, and one is when you actually do it in the field. So basically, the coaches, it's a type of, improving specific performance-oriented skills that is that they, teach us on a very specific note. And the mentors, they provide broader hand specific skills to us, like they support us, they guide us, they been through us in all the phases, and then they help us in our long term career for our personal and our professional development. So mentors, they
Thank
do
you.
that, and coaches, they help us to do a specific activity in a very good way. It
Okay.
is like that. Yeah,
Okay. Thank
example,
you,
like
Shravani.
there are mental health coaches and all. Oh, yeah. there are mental health coaches. So they basically focus on one specific topic, like suppose my mental health. But if I talk about mentors, so they mentor on, providing me a broader perspective in developing and developing and making me learn through a lot of experiences and all.
Let me simplify it for you because I see a lot of hands up. It means that you guys are aware and knowledgeable. Maybe this example will streamline your life and finish this confusion once for all. A coach will tell you what to do. Bhago aur tez bhago. Kaise kaise bhag rahe ho? Think of sports. Okay? That is what your coach will tell you. Change your strategy, change your shoes, do this, do that. A coach's job is that. Even at work, your coach will tell you, you are falling here, you are slacking here. Why are you not using this tool? I told you about it. Let's apply it. A mentor will never, ever give you a response. What is a mentor's job? Mentor's job is to enable you, empower you to find the answers to the questions you are asking. Because if I am providing the answers, you are not on a journey of self-discovery. Does it help, guys? Does it help?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
simple socha karo. So the examples that I will give you in the classroom, they will be silly to the level of hilarious. Because I try giving examples which will stick in your head and which is not highly complicated. But I appreciate the example like Shravani just spoke about. It's a very detailed explanation, but it has complex topics of how, for example, mental health is a very different, landmine to navigate. And for mentoring and coaching, picks up a very different avatar when we go into that space. But here in our area, where we are talking training, learning, and development, obviously we are not dismissing mental health. What we are saying is that our focus is way more razor sharp, and we have to attack the core concept. The core concept को पकड़ने के लिए क्या करना पड़ता है? Silly examples उठाओ. Silly example उठाओगे, याद रहेगा, उसको implicate करोगे, and when you're talking to somebody and somebody is trying to confuse you with all these questions, that is when you are able to give them an example also and say कि भाई तुम बड़ी बड़ी बातें तो कर रहे हो, core तो समझ लो. Understand what the core competency is. I'm sorry, there is one question in the chat. Somebody is asking for school. May not, yeah, exactly. Coach may not know the subject, but helps you think through and develop different perspectives. For example, if you go to a coach, let us say I had headed once a coaching program. उसमें बाहर से coach आए थे. And guess, a banking guy was being coached by somebody who's not even in banking. तो पहला बंदा मेरे पे चढ़ गया. क्या मैम ये कैसे लेकर आए हो इसको? मैं समझ नहीं आएगा मेरी प्रॉब्लम. मैंने कहा बात करके को देखो, बंदे को 46 years का एक्सपीरियंस है, बात तो करो. Later on they became best friends. They ignored me. मैडम आप जाओ, हम अपना सेशन कर लेंगे. This was after 3 sessions. But initially everybody is apprehensive that, oh, you don't have subject matter expertise. How will you help me? A coach allows you to discover your power. Your coach allows you to answer the questions through self-reflection, trial and error. To never give you an answer, never tell you what to do. Coach is your bouncing board. You go there, you talk and you talk and you talk until the time they keep asking. It's frustrating to a point. So what do you think should change here? They will ask. अरे मेरे को पता हो तो मैं तुमको क्यों आके बता रही? नहीं बताओ, what has worked in the past? Okay, tell me what the problem you are facing. So they will ask you a million questions, but eventually they will lead you to the solution by yourself. So you are the one whom they empower. So ideally, after a coaching session, what happens, or a mentoring session, what happens is that you become way more confident and you're way more self-dependent and you're no longer whining, cribbing, and crying. So you become set up for success. Okay. Sorry for the long detour. I'm going back to the question. I'm cognizant that we have 8 minutes left and we will be able to wrap it. Not a problem. Okay. The other one that we want to talk about is beyond performance support. We want to talk, which is a very, very understandable ROI concept, which is evaluation and measurement. Proof of the pudding is the test. बनाया बहुत स्टाइल से pudding, खाया, taste बढ़िया नहीं निकला. How do you know taste कैसा है? Evaluation and measurement. How do you reaction, learning, behavior, results? Welcome to Kirkpatrick's model. We will again cover it in detail. Do not worry. Kirkpatrick has 4 levels of learning evaluation. So we'll tell you about those. We'll also talk about the 5th level that was added later. Okay. So evaluation and measurement. Of course, there's feedback. Reaction is generally feedback and others. I do not want to unravel the mystery yet. I want you to be excited enough to study the model. And those of you who know, refresh the model. Then it's not the last one. There's one more in the book, in addition to creating a learning culture. It's called, the last one that is beyond this is staying updated at all times, staying current. Okay. What does creating a learning culture really mean? Creating a learning culture enhances the idea and fuels the idea that learning is a continuous process and we can always improve. No matter how good you become, you can always become better. So a learning culture will always fuel that aspiration. मानो आप सब कुछ पढ़ चुके हो जितना भी हो सकता है. You are an SME. You still have opportunities to interact with SMEs from the industry to learn better. Or maybe cross-skill into something which will fuel your personal ambitions. So creating a learning culture is encouraging people to be students for life and always keep getting better and better and better. Now let's talk about the last piece that I spoke about, which is what are the different kind of roles you have in L&D department. This will also help you identify a little bit मुझे क्या करना है, because learning and development is a generic term. कौन से roles हैं that I can look at. So first of all, we are saying trainer facilitator. Of course, these are the people who deliver. They are not architects of the program. For example, I am not architect of the program. I am delivering this paper for you. इसका कंटेंट किसने लिखा है, हमने स्ट्रेटेजी बनाई है, कैसे हम करेंगे, कितना हम शुरू में बताएंगे, when will we deep dive, all of that is done in the background, but the trainer or the facilitator brings the program to life. Next one, coach provides one-on-one guidance, support for employees, fuel professional development through objective setting, action plans, clear feedback. And the example I gave typically relates to sports. Bhago or tez bhago. You are not doing this. You are not doing. I taught you this. You have not practiced enough. You have not exercised enough. You have not applied enough, is what the coach will tell you. So do you want to be that person? You can be if that is something as your career aspiration. Then there is instructional designer. Now you've heard the word instructional design. Who is an instructional designer? Somebody who develops learning materials based on the instructional design principles. The person who has the vision, जो end to end देख पाता है कि ये ऐसे शुरू होगा, उसके बाद ये होगा, उसके बाद ये होगा. That's the instructional designer's job, to put all the pieces of the puzzles together and then dismantle the puzzle and give different people different pieces of the puzzle. And background के बैच के सारा कुछ ठीक से हो रहा है कि नहीं, कौन देख रहा है? L&D manager. The instructional designer designed something, gave it to you कि भाई अब चलाओ. L&D manager's job becomes to see that the instructional designer's vision is truly coming into life. Where is it falling off track? What needs to change? What do I need to remove? What do I need to add? What do I need to eliminate totally? Because it's not working. That's the L&D manager's job. अच्छा, अगला क्या है? ट्रेनिंग कोऑर्डिनेट. अब आपने इंस्ट्रक्शनल डिजाइनर से बना लिया प्रोग्राम, L&D मैनेजर बोल रहे क्या हो रहा है? The material didn't reach people on time. क्या हो रहा है? Why was this not explained earlier? All of that, the coordination bit, which currently, and I'm very grateful that Gurvinderji is doing for me at this point in time. IT ठीक से हो रहा है कि नहीं, material share हो रहा है कि नहीं, are people getting registered, are they getting their membership IDs, are they, is the class finishing on time, is Tina rambling and rambling and rambling और time ही खत्म हो गया. So training coordinator's job is done. Logistical, intelligent, sharp, on the feet, on toes all the time, never any lack of stress. Then there's the learning technologist. The learning technologist's job is to make sure ये जो सारा feedback आ रहा है, material जा रहा है, upload हो रहा है, Zoom, recording, all of that, it is being saved using the latest advanced technological tools that is available in the organization. So that when you finish this, आप जाओ अपने folder में, आपको वो data दिख गया, आप ISTD के पोर्टल में गए, आपको अपना सेल्फ सर्विस दिख गया, आपको अपना मेंबरशिप आईडी दिख गया, आपने कौन से प्रोग्राम्स किए. So the learning technologist uses technology to simplify your life and simplify the trainer's life as well. For example, you should be able to give an exam online. You should be able to see your scores on. You should be able to download your certificate on. All of that automation integration is done by the learning technologist. Then there is the boss man, the chief learning officer. जिसके साथ सीईओ, बोर्ड, सीएफओ, सीओ बैठ के बोलता है भैया ये धंधा हमको इतना रेवेन्यू लाना है, you have to enable us with the best training possible, with the best enablement possible, so that our employees are so good, we are able to achieve these targets. So this man doesn't care how the pieces of the puzzle are falling in place. Or this woman doesn't care how many training sessions are being done, how are you gathering information, she or he doesn't care. But what their eye is on the target to make sure that those objectives that have been set for the larger organizational vision are being realized. So, of course, I have also mentioned that the L&D team also coordinates with the SMEs because they do not always know. They do not always know all the information about which they are training. So that is also the job of the Chief Learning Officer to make sure that there are enough SMEs available for the trainers to interact with, develop their material for the instructional designer to develop the material, and also for the facilitator to deliver. So those are some common roles in the L&D department. It's food for thought. You guys might want to think about it. Where do I fit in? And what are the few things I would like to do? So I'm wrapping this up now. I am just on time, 2 minutes ahead. I'm going to stop my share. Now your homework. I am typical school teacher. I will give you a little bit homework. If you go to your material, at the end of the material, there is one section which is a very interesting and fun read. I can promise you that you will have a lot of fun reading it. And that last section is called Importance of Learning and Development. Okay. And also it talks about what are the various technological gifts that the L&D department has. I would like you to read it up. This is more of most of the things you already know, but this will be our discussion topic when we open our module number 2 as how to leverage technology in L&D and the importance. उसमें कुछ statistics दिए हैं, 15 tips as to why L&D is important for an org. So all of that will be covered. Have a good read. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you for your patience. I'm sorry I can't take questions right now. I have to wrap. I hope you had some fun. And if you didn't, I just hope that you had a good night. Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Have a
ma'am.
good day.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Thank you.